Hello, everybody. How you guys doing on this evening? I am so excited to be here, you guys. I have a special guest that is coming on tonight. I cannot wait to bring her on. I cannot wait to share the amazing things that is going on at Sacred Healing. You guys, this is the month of Women's Month, and during the whole month of March, I wanted to bring some dynamic women who have some dynamic testimonies, who have some dynamic stories of empowerment, women who have been through the storms, women who have overcame. And Tori is in this lineup. She is a phenomenal woman. I've met her at some time. We'll go more into that, but I don't want to waste any more time. I want to bring this beautiful queen on. I want her to share her story with us. I want her to enlighten us. I want her to give us her raw truth and understanding. She's a beautiful soul. She is so transparent and so passionate about what she does, and who she is amazing. And I can't wait to share that. And I just want to welcome her. I want you guys to show her some love. How you doing? Good evening, Doris. We have a beautiful guest on tonight, so y'all are just going to be totally amazed. But I'm not going to wait any longer. I'm going to go ahead and bring her on in. And none other, coming from the backstage, Miss Tori L. Edwards. How you doing, sweetheart? Glad to have you
I'm
on
doing
tonight.
good, Regina.
I'm
How are
so
you?
excited. You know what? Let me tell you, I got to be honest and truthful with you.
Yes.
I've been wanting you to be on this platform with me for some time. So you
Yeah.
already were in my head a long time ago before I decided to bring the secret healing out, because I used to have a different platform that I came on solely. But you were one of them that was always in my mind. I said, you know what? Because even the things that I watch you do and how you're inspiring, you're all about inspiring your sister or your brother. I see that the passion that you have diligently, working and pressing towards your greatness. But I wanted you to come on here tonight because I believe in my heart that you have a testimony and a story that could benefit so many women out here. And you never know who's going through what. You never know what somebody is experiencing in their life. And if we can have somebody like yourself to speak your truth, to show that there is hope and there's a light in a dark place, I want you to come forth and just give us your story and let the world know that, hey, if Tori can do it, I can do it. If Regina can do it, I can do it. So I want to welcome you to the stage. I want you to have free range, be your most authentic self, like we talked about, and just let it flow, and let's show everyone the greatness. So come on in, Tori.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Regina, for bringing me on. I'm so happy we were able to stay connected since our first encounter. And so thank you for remembering me and bringing me on. Listen, so I promise you, as soon as you said, hey guys, welcome, I was like, oh my gosh, I should have set up my tripod so I can go live on Instagram. And then I was like, it's too late. So that would have been a good idea to at least
Well,
go.
do you have will it take you too long to do that?
Nope.
Well,
Let
go
me go
ahead.
get it.
I
Okay.
told you to be. I listen. I told you we're real here. This is real. Okay, we ain't script over here.
No, yes, because I did share the link to my platform page. And
Uh
then, of
huh.
course, I shared it to my personal page. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, okay, are people really going to click? And I don't usually go live on Instagram, but for whatever reason, I feel like I should right now. I don't know
Well,
if.
then you know what? If you feel that you should, then you should.
Do you think I should go live on my With Mother platform or my personal page? Which
Whatever you think. Whatever comes first.
Okay, let's
Whatever
go
comes.
to let's go to okay, you're live too. See, you already know. Let me
Yeah, we already. Hey, get it. Let's get into the know.
yeah, for real.
And like you said, why not? You know, why not?
Okay, so thank you guys for being patient, but I just felt in my
Yes.
spirit I needed to go live on Instagram on my personal page, and I really go live, so I don't know if
Hey, well, you know what? It's meant for you to go live.
no,
Okay,
yeah.
because you're live on tonight.
Yes, I'm live on tonight. Okay. Here we go.
Okay, here we go, Miss Tori. Go on and give us
Okay.
your go on and give us the story of your breakdown of who Tori Al is.
Okay, yes, let's do it. Okay, welcome Instagram. So I'm Tori L. Edwards. I am a self published author, I am a speaker, and I am a founder of a project that's geared towards mothers and daughters. And I am a daughter, I am a woman to a man, I am a friend, I am a sister, and I enjoy all of the hats I wear. So, yes, okay, so let's see, where do I want to begin? I know we were talking earlier, and I'm like, okay, how should I start this conversation since I have free will to just.
Free will, that's what it's about. It's free will. You
Yeah.
need to have free will.
Okay, so I guess let's go back to 2018. I was like, I need to write a book. I need to write a book because I've experienced so much that
Mhm.
I need to put it in story format, and I need to share my story and my experiences with people because I want people to know they were not the only one. They're
Mhm.
not alone. And sometimes these things happen. And
Right.
a lot of times we don't look like what we've been through, but it doesn't mean we didn't go through it. So, and I always also had this desire to be an author. However, I just didn't know what I was going to write about, and I didn't know when that was going to take place. But in 2018, I had this desire. I'm like, I have to write a book. And it took me a while to get to the point of publishing it because
Okay.
it took me 2 years to write it, and I just wanted it to come naturally. But in that book, I was able to speak about my different experiences in my childhood. I was able to dive into different places that I was in within myself in high school and certain experiences in my 20s that led me into this very deep, dark place. Okay. I didn't know I was on my way to this place, but I arrived there very suddenly and I was very scared because I was like, how did I get here? But surprisingly, well, I guess, yeah, surprisingly, when I was at towards the very end of publishing my book,
Mhm.
I realized that once I started to put the book together and write it, it was like everything that I went through started coming back up. And it was like I was experiencing it all over again. And it was very hard for me to go through that. And I
Right.
push through with publishing it because now I'm having these challenges and I'm very aware that now everybody is going to be made aware of, the
Eh,
Tory behind the scenes. So that was
exactly. That's a scary place to be.
no, yes, it was very scary. And but I pushed through that. However, when I published a book in 2020, that led me into that very dark space where I was consumed with anxiety like never before. And at this point, I don't even think I knew what anxiety was. Like obviously now we all know the word anxiety, like they're even making songs about it.
Right.
But 5 years ago, I didn't know it was anxiety. I just knew that I was like having a panic attack, basically. And I was not able to ground myself. Like it was like I was losing myself slowly and slowly. And I just found myself in this space, just curled up in my home. Like, how did I get here? Like, I don't think I'll ever be able to get back to myself. And
Right.
so that moment in 2020 was very symbolic because not only was
Right.
it
Right.
taking place, we were also shut down. So I do believe that was all aligned in that way because I was able to sit with myself and really
Mhm.
face myself, really face the areas of me that I suppressed for so long. And
Right.
this book didn't help. It helped, but
But
it
it
didn't
did.
help because it brought it all back up. And so
Right.
yeah, that
So
was very.
when when you say when you're with an anxiety, what was going on at that particular time that escalated that? Oh my gosh, I'm having panic attacks. Like, what was it going on at that particular in your life that heightened that emotion?
That's a great question. Okay, let's get into that. So, at the time, hello guys, welcome. I wanted to go live. So, at the time, I was dealing with a man. Okay,
Okay.
he was not choosing me. And I was
Mm.
feeling so worthless because I put myself in this position to be second. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And when the reality started hitting me that I was in second place and that I was not going to be chosen, it really triggered a lot of my wounds that I didn't even know was there. And so facing that was very, very hard. And yeah, I would say that triggered the anxiety for sure. And just trying to navigate feeling worthless, feeling not chosen, feeling not beautiful enough for a man.
Right.
So
Now, had you been in this relationship for a while at the time?
so this particular connection, at that point, it was probably going on 2 years, like on and off. It wasn't necessarily a committed relationship. It was just something that I was involving myself in at the time.
Okay.
Yes.
So it wasn't really a healthy relationship during
No.
that whole time, right?
No.
And so when you go through, and I know you're not the only one, and there's other women that out there that have been that. When you feel that, when you said the key thing that I heard you say was you put yourself second. So doing that, putting yourself second, that could bring on a whole lot of emotions with insecurity, not feeling worthy. Like, why am I not good enough? Why am I not beautiful enough? And
Yes.
and now those can bring up those anxiety, emotions.
Yes.
And I believe that there's a lot of women that actually do that, that put themselves second, in a relationship. And during that time, did you find yourself, how during that time when you noticed that your anxiety, were you at the time of writing the book at that present time, or was that afterwards, or during that time?
So it was a little bit of both. When I actually started writing the book, I was consuming myself in this connection. And once I published the book, it was like everything became illuminated. How I positioned myself in that connection, how it really made me feel, and just how I was discounting myself in a way. And just to clarify, I was putting myself second with a man who was already involved with another woman. So
Wow.
that's what I mean by putting myself second. I was
Ooh, the emotions that you were going through,
yeah,
girl. My goodness. Go ahead and tell me.
no, yeah. So, and I actually never really told this story publicly. So now that's why I'm deciding to get off Instagram live. Y'all see how I do? That's when I'm like, actually, no. But that was cute. So yeah. What was your question? I'm sorry.
So the question was, is that during that time, you said you was with your anxiety and you were going through, and that the gentleman that you're involved with, there was actually two of you, so you weren't the only one.
Right. Right. Yes. So I was definitely feeling I think what really came to mind for me was the lack of love that I felt from a man.
Uh-huh. Okay.
I feel I was so desperate to feel it that I didn't mind having some of it. Okay.
That's the truth. Tell the truth. Tell the
Yeah.
truth.
Yeah. So now I wouldn't condone that behavior. However, that was
But it's
something.
the truth. It's things
Yeah.
like this happen, and this needs to be told, Tori.
Yeah. So it was just the feeling that I felt with him that made me feel what I thought I needed.
Mm-hmm.
I never felt what I felt with him with another man before. So I thought it was love, and I thought it was something that I had to fight for and prove that I was the one worthy enough for you to leave this other woman and be with me. So when I say I discounted myself, I just allow myself to settle in a lot of ways. Settle in love, settle in respect. And that, like I said, that realization, because that was going on for 2 years. And so at 2020, this was towards the end. In 2020, the summer of 2020, I ended it. I'm sorry, the spring of 2020, I ended it. And
Okay.
me realizing, well, me coming out of the illusion and realizing what I just did was very overwhelming for me, and it put me in that place of anxiety because I felt so shameful and I felt so regretful because it did not turn out how I hoped. And
Right.
now I'm in a place of trying to figure out, who am I? Like, how did I even get here? And how do I this is not who I want to be. This is not what I want to be known for. And so how do I
Right.
get out of this space? And so it was just very, very overwhelming.
We have a watcher. Listen, that says OMG. I'm there now.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So there's, like I said, there's women out there that are dealing with certain situations like that, or there's, settling because, like you said, you wanted just some type of love. Do
Yeah.
you believe that because you were tolerant of that behavior, what do you think the root cause was for you to even entertain that? Do you believe there was something in your childhood that you dealt with, or tolerating things, or there's something that you have gone through? Because we got to think about some of the things that we put ourselves in. What is the root cause of why I do this?
So I feel like it was a couple of things. I feel like um at the time, the lifestyle that I was living was very promiscuous.
Okay,
And
I do remember you talking about that at one time when you were telling your
yes,
story. Uh
yes.
huh.
And I wanted to be in charge. I wanted to take on the attributes of a man that was you know, the type to have many women. And
Right.
so when it got to that point of us having a sexual connection, to answer your question, I do believe it did stem with some childhood wounds,
Okay.
but I believe it also just stemmed with how I saw myself.
Okay.
I didn't feel worthy enough for a lot of things. And so the idea of being in a healthy connection with a man seemed so far-fetched to me that
Mm,
I decided to just settle for this and use it as like an ego boost because I had this woman's man. And so my father was in my life as a child, but he was not as present as I would have wanted him to be. And at the same time, my father was he was a man who had many women. And
okay.
I just think my examples and my different experiences led me to that connection, as well as the experiences that I seen my mom um,
Hmm.
go through. A lot of times we like to point out the father, but we don't want to acknowledge the mom. And I don't want to be the one to tell my mom's testimony and her story, but I can honestly say, if you don't acknowledge, if you're not honest with your children about where you come from, then
Exactly.
repeat
Speak
it.
about it.
Yes, and I'm gonna have to be honest with you guys, and I love my mom, and she'll tell you. However, my mom's first husband, um, he was married when he started dating my mother,
Okay.
and that did not stop her. And
Hmm.
he divorced his wife, and set aside that family to start one with my mother, myself, and my brother. And
Wow.
I
That's hard.
yeah, obviously, well, not obviously, but that did not turn out as planned. For some people it works, but in this
Hmm.
case, it did not turn out as planned. So yes, I want to say it was a part of who my father was to me in my life as a child, but it was also just what I saw. And though
Right.
I didn't actually know that was the story behind how they met until I got older. I was
Gotcha.
like 5 or 6 when they met. But when I got older and I found out, I guess it wasn't nothing for me to just, move the same. And so,
Right.
yes,
Right.
yeah,
And like I say, like, because a lot of times we know, when you really look back at where some of the things that we do is like you said, where did I get some of these things? Like you said, there's certain things with your father that you've seen, certain things that your mother that you have seen, and
yes,
then a lot of times we will subject ourselves to these situations, and knowing, deep down, like, okay, it's not good for me. I shouldn't have put myself in a vulnerable state like that, because it's almost like I'm already setting myself up for failure, you know. But I'm willing to take just a little bit of some type of love, as long as it's love.
Yeah.
um where did it come to where, like, you're purposeful, like, you know, wanting to, like with the organization that you have, the mother with, you know, mother and daughter situation, things like that. How did that come about? How did, you know, because just like you keep rising and you
Hmm.
keep telling your story. And
Yeah.
so take me down that path of how that came about.
Okay. Yeah. So first, I want to start with this is someone I've always been, and I'm just now accepting that. At 15, I actually had a nonprofit. The With Mother Today is a for-profit business, but at 15, I had a nonprofit, and we were putting on charity fashion shows, raising funds for youth in group homes, and we were empowering them through the fashion show experience. So through rehearsals and preparing them for the show, we use that as a moment to build confidence, work on self-esteem. So this is something that I've been doing since I was 15. However, as I got older into my teenage years, I wanted to kind of just be a teenager because I was doing so much. However, when it's your calling, it will keep calling you.
Yes,
So, and
Bill.
yes, so after, my party stage and sleeping with other people's men and all of that, I had to have a reality check and say, okay, Tori, like, are you done? And
Hmm.
that led to me, yes, publishing the book, but then wanting to create an extension to the book, by doing some sort of empowerment speaking. And
Hmm.
I was sitting with myself and sitting with God and just trying to figure out what's my approach. Because yes, I can get on the camera and be,
Right.
talking about you can do it, but what's something I can hone on in that
Right.
set me apart? And he was like, the relationship with your mother. And I'm like, yeah. And like I said, of course, like my father wasn't, my mom raised me as a single mother. So yes, okay, you have the daddy issues and things that
Right.
naturally come with that. But we don't never talk about the mommy issues and the wounds that stem from our mothers. So
That's true.
yes, the platform with Mother was birthed from a place of wanting to be transparent and honest about the dynamic with my mother and I. At that point in 2023, my mother and I had many of moments where I went without speaking with my mom. Me and my mom
Right.
had big, um, just just very chaotic moments together where it was
Hmm.
like almost insane. And so at that point in 2023, we were in a good space and we were figuring things out. And I'm like, let's talk about our relationship and where we've come from and
Right.
things we've gone through. And so present day, it's now a growing community, and I go out and I hold workshops and hold conversations
Okay.
and just bring awareness to the impact the mother makes in their child's life.
And that is so true, because you know what, our mothers are very vital to our life, and if we don't have that relationship, that strong foundation with a mother and daughter foundation, it can leave some really things rooted in deep pain.
Yes.
Because if your first experience of what it is to be around a woman,
Hmm.
and your first experience that's negative just so happens to be your mother, you
Hmm.
can carry on those relationships with other women, you know, whether it's in the workforce, whether it's in your friendships, of really how it is to have a solid foundation friendship with women, how you deal with
Yes.
women,
No, yes.
you know, because a lot of times if you've been in a situation with the mother and daughter situation with your mother, it could get to the fact where I really don't trust women.
Yeah.
You know, women can be very conniving. You know, you kind of have that mindset. You know,
Mhm.
and things like that. So that is a wonderful platform to where, because you know what, a lot of people need that, Tori. A lot of people, because they don't speak about it. They speak about the father, but they
Yeah.
never speak about the mother, of the wounds that, you know, daughters may carry, because of whatever, for whatever situations that the mothers may have been in. Like you said, your mother was in a situation, you know, at that time she could have been in a broken state,
Yeah.
allowing herself to be subjected and and entertaining that behavior. You see what I'm saying? And not really knowing, okay, what was her root cause of
Yes.
why she felt that, okay, it's okay for me to just take what's left of a man and not have the wholeness of a man.
Yes. Yes.
You know, and a lot of times it's like you said, some characteristics that you carried on, not really realizing like where did this really stem from. You know what I'm saying? Like how do I navigate through life if the only way that I've seen to navigate through life is through what my mother gave me an example of.
Yes. Yes, definitely. And I had to do a lot of unlearning. And that
Mm-hmm.
was one of the most challenging things from 2020 up into really the fall of 2024. I was in a process of unlearning a lot of different things
Right.
and reteaching myself, tempering myself, my anger, my rage,
Right.
just how I saw myself, how I felt about myself. That was a very intense process that I wouldn't say I'm still on, but I'm now cultivating. I'm now okay. I've unlearned the behaviors that are not
There
conducive
you
to growing and thriving as a whole
there
woman.
you good.
Now I have to cultivate the characteristics that will allow me to be a woman that I would look up to, that I
Right.
would allow my daughters to look up to. So I'm in that process of now really cultivating my character and being very intentional about how I show up and how I respond and
Mm-hmm.
just how I am as a woman.
Right.
Being a woman is so powerful, and it's very sad that for so long we didn't look at the impact the mother makes on the child. And I want to say
Right.
a lot of us who are broken and who are in these different spaces, a lot of it stems from our mothers. Our mother
Right.
women are so powerful. Like the power we have, we can
Mm-hmm.
manipulate, control, intimidate anybody. You don't have to be no empowerment speaker. You know what I'm saying? And you like there's this something in us that can cause a man
Right.
to feel like a boy, you know? And so when when you have that knowing and you use it for evil,
Oh yeah.
it's very destructive. And so yes, we need to acknowledge the role that our fathers play, but we need to also acknowledge that um how we view the world, how we feel about ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
that is shaped within the connection between mother and child during infancy and toddler years and adolescent years. And so, yeah, a lot of reprogramming has been taking place. And
I like that what you said, reprogramming. And before we run out of time, I do want to share your book. So if
yes,
anybody's interested, I do have my copy, you guys. If you guys can see.
yeah, yeah,
And Tori, where can you tell them where they could, publish your book because it goes more in detail about your story, and and it's very. Let me tell you what, it's very powerful, very powerful. So you don't want, hey, you want to get it.
yes. So you can find this book on my website or Amazon, whichever is easier. So the book is entitled Schoonlapper. That is butterfly and Afrikaans. And during this time, I was going through a very intense metamorphosis process. I was actually, I want to say, not even, yeah, I was like a caterpillar at this point. I wasn't even the
Hmm.
cocoon yet. Um, yeah, girl. So I wasn't even a butterfly, but I was hoping to be.
Right. And now look,
Yeah, yeah. You can find it on Amazon. You can find it on ToriLEdwards.com. I guess I can type it in the chat right here.
please, yeah, please do. And
Okay.
before we guys go, I want, and while she's typing this up, I want to just how I want to give a little something before we get off. But I met Tori at a All Blacks Authors Network, and I'll never forget remembering seeing this beautiful
Yeah.
young woman coming in. She had all black on, y'all, with this Kango hat on.
Oh, yeah,
And
that
you
day.
ever, and I remember that because that stuck out to me, because you know why that stuck out to me, because that was, you were, to me, it set you apart.
Mm,
It had a statement. It had a statement of strength. Your quietness, your stillness, but the elegant of your beauty of how you carried yourself was very powerful. So
wow.
even before you spoke,
Yes.
I already sensed the power that was within you. because you
Wow.
didn't say much the very first time. You know, you're very quiet, you're very observant. You know, you came in to kind of see how everything was. You were new, you didn't know anybody there. And I just remember at that moment, I was like, you know what? Sure, there's more to her than what she's like saying right now.
Yeah.
And it was just amazing. And I love to see the work that you're doing, the passionate that you're doing, but the trueness and the genuine that you show behind it. And
Yes.
I'm thankful to know a woman like you, a young woman like you that is,
Yes.
doing great things out there, that's also transparent and truthful enough to put her truth out there, because there are women that are dealing with this as
Yes.
we speak right now, and may feel hopeless, may feel ashamed, may feel like, what, they'll be judged. But everybody wants to be loved,
Yeah.
and everybody goes through different stages in their life, but we can come out victorious and we can come out on top.
Yes.
But I just want to thank you, Tori, for joining Sacred Healing on
You.
tonight at this platform. I look forward, as I do believe that the connection that we made is a divine connection, and I believe that we will be doing more work together, empowering women and empowering to let them know that, what, we can make a difference if we just believe.
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you
and
for
I appreciate everybody that's been on tonight, coming in and giving us the time,
yes.
and listening to what we have to say, and we pray that everything will go well. But until then, we have to go, and you guys have a wonderful evening.
Have a good
Love
evening.
y'all.